How's it going today? You're here again with the steering wheel commentator. Don't forget to hit the like button, to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Hey, you can leave a comment if you want to leave a comment. I'm going to tell a little different, I'll tell about a little bit different band this morning because I hadn't really heard anybody ever talk about them much. It's been so long, but we're going to go way back again to 1991. Now, me and Lori had just started dating at this time. We were she had to work this night, so she couldn't go, and I already had a ticket to go. And it was to see AC/DC at the Midsouth Coliseum, Memphis, Tennessee. It was on Tuesday, January the 29th, 1991. And that's very unusual for me because I usually wouldn't go to a concert on a Tuesday night. It's a work night, so I usually wouldn't go, but I went because I wanted to see AC/DC, and I always heard about how loud AC/DC was. Man, people talking about, man, they're so loud. They're the loudest band. They're the loudest rock band. And I was like, man, I was all hyped up for it. Now, I can't remember who went up there with me. It may have been, I can't remember who went with me. If you went with me to the concert, leave a comment. I'll even post this on Facebook, but leave a comment if you're the one that went, because I absolutely do not remember who was there with me. But, man, we got in there, and King's X was opening for AC/DC. Now, I am going to have to tell you that I really didn't know, at the time, I really didn't know that much about King's X. I just knew, the bass player guy his voice kind of made me think of the guy from Thin Lizzy that passed away. He kind of made me think of him. And anyway, I really didn't know that much about them. I knew they were three-piece and they were jamming. That's all I knew, And anyway, we got in there and King's X comes out. Now, my seats, if you were facing off the stage, looking at the crowd, I was on the top right up through there, kind of in the back, right back to the right there. If there was a corner there, that's where I was at, up at the top. Man, it was so freaking loud. And I'm talking about, I was in the nosebleeds. King's X was ripping your head off, man. They were loud. I'm talking about they were killer loud. I was like, dang, man, if AC/DC comes out and they're any louder than this, it's going to be killing. Well, King's X just ripped. I didn't really know any of their songs or anything, but I mean, they were jamming. King's X was jamming. Go back and listen to some of their music. I don't know that I ever owned a King's X CD. I might have, but I'm talking about they were killing. They were jamming, and they're three-piece, man. I mean, but they were killing. Anyway, so then it comes time, they get off the stage, here comes AC/DC, and I'm like, man, this is going to be it's going to rip my head off. They come out, and if you was turning, say you had the volume on 10 with King's X, when AC/DC came out, it was like you turned the volume down to about 7 with AC/DC. That is the first time, that is the first concert that I can remember that I have ever been to that the opening act was louder than the headliner. King's X was way louder than AC/DC. I couldn't believe it. I was like, really? Now, I'm going to tell you something. This was when, the Thunderstruck album. Wasn't that and you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Wasn't 91 when the Thunderstruck album had come out? And, man, they come out, they were ripping and jamming. I mean, I'd never seen them before. And I mean, Angus is just, he's a madman. He's crazy. I mean, he was all over the stage, man. He was just like, you can go in any YouTube video of them live and you can just see how Angus Young was. I mean, he was all over the stage. Now, he did one thing that I could have lived without. He got up there and at one point, he done a striptease where he dropped his britches. I could have done without that. I didn't need that. Didn't need to see Angus Young's angle, if you know what I mean. But anyway, they were jamming. And of course, they got to, for those about to rock, had the big cannons, firing the big cannons and all. I mean, it was everything you could imagine about an AC/DC concert. It was in this concert, except for it just wasn't that loud. It wasn't that loud. I was kind of disappointed in that, but I guess I was kind of pleased too, because King's X was so freaking loud. But there's one part of the concert that I want to talk a little bit about that give me the creeps, man. And I can't help it. Look, 1991, I wasn't in church. I didn't have no clue about church. I mean, I was raised in a Baptist church. Don't get me wrong. I was raised in church, but in 91, I wasn't worried about church. I was just worried about, rocking, being in a band, singing. That's all I was worried about, hanging out. But man, when they cut the lights down and went red lights all over the place, it was red. And anybody that was at the concert can back me up on this. It was all red. They went into Highway to Hell. And it got creepy, man. Everybody in the whole place was putting their arm up, Highway to Hell. And they was flashing the lights out through there, and everybody, I'm on the highway. And I was standing there and I was going, man, something just don't feel right about this. And hey, look, I've heard people talk about, that ain't, they didn't write the song with those intentions. And I don't want that conversation. I don't want that conversation. All I'm telling you about is what I experienced when I was there. And I got the creeps. And I'm talking about, I wasn't a Christian then. I was far from being a Christian then. And I got creeped out when they were, everybody, you're talking about the Coliseum held probably 10,000 people, maybe 9 or 10,000 people. And every one of them in there throwing their arms up in the air and singing, I'm on the highway to hell. With the red lights going out through there. And then, of course, then you had a whole lot of Rosie. They had this big inflatable woman come up behind the stage. And, I guess it was Rosie. And it was a whole lot of Rosie. It was jamming on all those songs. And look, I appreciate all those songs. But man, I tell you what, when they were doing that, talking about doing Highway to Hell, and that whole crowd, everybody was just fist bumping in it, man. They were just in it. I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Now, I know it's one of the coolest riffs on guitar that you can listen to. I appreciate guitar playing, and I appreciate Angus Young's guitar playing. Look, there's one thing you can say about AC/DC. Every AC/DC album that they've ever done, and they've done a bunch of them, they always sounded like AC/DC. They always had that melody, that beat, and they always had that certain something that you knew it was AC/DC. And it was a good concert. They put on a great show. Angus put on a great show. Brian Johnson was on top of his game. He was great. And I just had to tell that one little part. The Highway to Hell part creeped me out. I mean, it really did. It creeped me out. I remember that as vividly as it was yesterday. And it kind of creeped me out. Let me know if it did that to any of y'all. This has been another episode with the Steering Wheel Commentator. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. When another one comes out, you'll get to see it. Hope to see you again real soon.